Yeah, assalamu alaikum. This is Clifton Raheem Bradley in the Chicago area of the United States. And here to talk about the news. I got Johnny with me, JJ, and to talk about current news and what is going on. We're gonna discuss Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, that's in the news and the weather, and also what else did I have written down? What the way the time is going, the way things that are happening are things happening the way they're being prophesied to happen. And do you even believe in it? How you doing, Johnny? Okay, so I don't know what happened to Johnny. His camera went out, and the news. What is in the news in the United States of America and the world? And we talk about Palestine and talk about Israel. And I think you better focus right now because you know what? On Donald Trump in the news. Donald Trump is in the news and it's dealing with former porn star Stormy Daniels. Okay. And the thing is, what is going on is they're taking him to court because what happens is he paid. It's alleged that he paid hush money to former porn star Stormy Daniels. Okay, she was on a show that comes on in the United States of America called the Jimmy Kimmel Live Show, and you know what? I didn't get the opportunity to see that show, but you know what? I always wondered to myself, hush money. It's alleged that he gave her hush money, okay? Because the thing is, he did not want it to be known. He did not want it to be known that he, according to allegations, gave money to Stormy Daniels during his run, possible, well, U.S. President of the United States of America, because he thought he thought, and his lawyers felt that that would be damaging. And you know what? When you have an out of court settlement, you sign paperwork. You do sign paperwork, but you cannot disclose this information after you accept the funds. Do you think that do you think that the courts are being too critical on former President Donald Trump, who's running for president in 2024 against Joe Biden? Do you think they should just back off? You know, because when you have an out of court settlement, but what they're saying is under campaign laws, because he was going to run again, him running for president, that this could not, this just would have, he just wouldn't have stood no opportunity whatsoever of winning. You think, Johnny? Can I hear you? So this is something that is going on in the news, and then there's other allegations against former President Donald Trump. And you know what? And it's interesting, it's mind-boggling because you know what? There are individuals that have done it, and actually, I'm making no excuses whatsoever for a man. You know what? Doing things that's unbecoming, and that man has made a determination that he wanted to be married, but to cover it up during an election, plus he paid. I forgot the name of the newspaper. I think it was it's a tabloid. He paid. It's last year he paid money to the tabloid owner, a publisher, to keep current stories away that may damage his candidacy. And you know which he won, and he won anyway. And you know what I'm, and they're being hard on, actually. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. And you know what? I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this. This will be posted, and who knows? I'll go ahead and just go ahead and just break that up. And then we have yeah, hello, Johnny. So what happened is we have a war that is going on right now. Segueing away from that is between Israel and Palestine right now. And it is a war that is going on. And you know what? They have been fighting for years and years. And I hope peace for the Middle East. But in a sense, I don't believe that it will be any peace. But I hope so. And it's been individuals that have died that live in the Gaza Strip. They have individuals that have died that live in Israel. And you know what? There's a big dispute about the land. And can you hear me, Johnny? And can't hear you, brother. And what happened is there's a big, you know what? He's adjusting his audio, and I cannot hear him. But the thing is, in Israel, there's a big war. And to me, it started back in 1948 when United Nations decided to give land to Palestine. I'm talking about to Israel, in which the Palestinians the Palestinians just walked away because they didn't feel it was a fair plan. But the thing I don't like about it is it has to be a way to
Greetings.
peacefully resolve that. Can I hear you? Can't hear you. There has to be a way to peacefully resolve that issue. And I don't happen to be an expert when it comes to that. You know, there are individuals that are geopolitical experts about that. But you know what? I hope for peace in the Mideast, and the people don't know there are a lot of people that in the United States right now that are protesting. They're protesting the movement of the Israelis for going into Ramallah. Okay. And it's who knows, and it's a lot of anti-Semitism. I'm talking about Jewish people that are going on in the United States and hate crimes that are going on. But you know what? I encourage people don't
Can you hear
don't
me
do
now?
that. Yeah, I can hear you, brother. I hear you now.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay, so you kind of low, but I
Fantastic.
still hear you, brother. You know what, brother? Yeah, I like to ask you, brother. The thing that's going on
How's
with,
this?
yeah, I hear you loud and clear. You know, and brother, I like
Okay.
to ask you, brother. You know what? The thing that is going on with former President Donald Trump in the news right now. It's currently in the news, and it's wild. Okay, about former porn star Stormy Daniels, do you think that it's being carried out of proportion? Do you think that former President Donald Trump he tried to do everything he did to covered it up before the election because he knew that it would damage his possible run for presidency?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think any reasonable person sees the obvious facts and conclude what, what is transpired. I mean, it's not,
You need to turn up
say,
your audio a little. Go ahead, brother. Uh huh.
yeah, it
Hmm.
doesn't, how's that?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
I don't,
listening.
I don't know what's going on with my audio. It's always something.
Yeah,
But in any case, can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay, so uh, it's clearly what it is. What it looks like is exactly what it is, and uh, I I think as far as it being blown out of proportion, I think that you asked. I think it's relative because I think it's important, but in today's environment in our political and social environment, it seems to be somewhat irrelevant because it's like it almost doesn't matter about your ethics.
Hmm.
So this man has done a lot worse things than pay off a porn star. But
Yes.
this is what it's coming down to, and it's not even really that they're coming at him specifically for sleeping with a porn star, as someone put it. It's not about the sex; it's about the checks.
Yes. I mean, I mean, do you think that him paying off Stormy Daniels, of which he did not break the law, okay, by paying off because there are many court cases that are settled and there's non-disclosure documentation that says that you cannot talk about this case. Do you think that that was wrong? But did he his motivation, his sole motivation was to not to have these stories leak? Okay,
Well,
because he was running for president of the United States. Did he do anything that was against the law by doing it?
yes, yes.
What did he do?
So the paying of money to, I guess, wash away a story, it's not, as far as I know, it's not against the law. It obviously is not ethical, but it's not against the law. What he's in court about is hiding the payment through financial deception.
Mhm.
By basically fraudulently uh, documenting the payment. Because okay, so if with the payment that he made to her, uh, from what I understand, it was a series of $35,000 payments. Uh, well, in the Trump organization, any payment above 10,000 has to be signed by Donald Trump Jr., or Eric Trump.
Mhm.
So he ended up having to sign it, and then he hid the purpose of the payment. So that's why they're prosecuting him.
Mm. Do you think that this will, because of his other legal issues, that he will be incarcerated and they will not take in consideration that, hey, you know what, we're not going to put a former president of the United States in jail? Do you think that he will be? Do you think that he will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law?
Well, I don't think the fact that he's a former president covers him under this political climate. Under other political climates, perhaps, but this one, no. I think, in
You
fact,
don't think so? Huh?
yeah, I think it's probably does more to hurt him. He has under this political climate, him being a former president and his party politics is more likely that he will face stiff
So, in your
consequences.
opinion, he's going to jail. I got it.
I don't know about jail. I mean, it seems like politically that would be ultimately the motive. I don't see why they're doing this if they don't intend to put him in jail.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't. It's really up in the air, and you know what is what is interesting about former President Donald Trump, and I'd like for you to expand on it. It appears as though the more trouble infractions that he has done against society, okay, and it's known in civil court. It appears as though his poll numbers are rising. And I know there's some individuals that really do not believe in poll numbers, but it appears that his popularity keeps going up the more that he the more trouble that it's alleged that he's getting into. What is the reason that the American people gravitate towards some perceive the bad guy? You have women that want bad guys, some women. And what is the reason that his poll numbers keep on going up, 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 according to the news media?
Well, I don't think this is the bad guy syndrome. I think this is more of the spirit that's loose in the world today, which is a spirit of delusion,
Mhm.
where people are willingly want to be deceived. They willingly want to believe the unreasonable, the illogical. Uh, it's sort of like an inoculation against the truth. So
Mhm.
everybody wants, they're going for extremely unbelievable things. Like the more unbelievable is like the more people follow it.
Mhm.
It's just like a lot of these preachers, who claim ridiculous, you know, off the wall stuff, and people eat it up. People are loving delusion. Is sort of like the opium of politics and religion,
But I,
which is
I, I,
being mixed.
are you saying in essence that former President Donald Trump, he is a reflection of society, and he is a reflection of the immorality and the dastardly deeds, and when at any cost, he is a reflection of America, a certain segment of America.
Yeah, he is, yeah, he's basically is coming in at an opportune time for
Yeah.
delusion. He's a liar, and this is the time of liars.
Mhm.
Liars
Can't
are
hear you
well
now.
received.
Go
They are
ahead.
much more well received than anyone telling the truth. I mean, I don't
So,
care. Even this includes the church, even of the strictest sects.
mhm.
They prefer lies over truth.
So he is a reflection of the immorality and the dastardly deeds that people do and what people hold in their hearts. Is that to a certain degree of a certain segment of the
Yeah.
population? It appears to be a large segment of the population because immorality, yeah, decency, yes, subsided from the society. The society, as the society has demonstrated that they have deviated. The majority have deviated off the path of God. They say they love God, but the thing in their hearts, that's not what they demonstrate. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you know, yeah. So that people, it's sort of like this liars or manipulative and deceptive people are like a magnet, or
Yes.
put it like this: lying, manipulative leaders are like a magnet, and the people are like metal objects. They're just attracted to, you know, that, you know, depolarization, if I can put it like that. They're
Mhm.
drawn, according to their nature. The people that love lies are being attracted to liars, and that's the spirit that's released in the world. So that if you love lies, we got somebody for you.
Hmm. Wow. That's that's heavy. That's heavy, brother. And Johnny. I like to ask you, brother. We look at the weather patterns that are going on in the United States and world with earthquakes and tornadoes, and they have become more rapid. It's become more frequent. And would you say that it's a possibility that that is a chastisement of the Creator? Or do you just see it's global warming? Is it the chastisement of the Creator, all of these storms and hurricanes and horrific things that are going on? And is it happening by the permission of God, or is it just global warming? What is it? Can you expand on that?
I, we spiritualize everything. You know,
Mhm.
we love to spiritualize and mystify things that are clearly seen. You know, like sometimes we act like Nicodemus. When Nicodemus came to see Jesus, Jesus was talking to him about being born again in the spiritual
Mhm.
sense. He was like, once we go back into our mother's womb, we act kind of dumb sometimes, right? So it's out it so it's not, you can't separate act of God. In this case, you cannot separate an act of God from natural consequences.
Yes.
So a lot of things that God has stated, we took it as a punishment, like the punishment is going to be just an act of God, that God is going to initiate this to happen because we did this. No, God spoke these things because he knew this was going to be the consequences of man's actions. So,
Mhm.
yes, this is global warming and all of the different things that we're doing to the planet, but these are the things that God told us was going to happen through our own consequences. So, it's not so much it's a curse from an act of God, it's a curse from the act of man.
Mm. And so it's a it is a chastisement for the for man's deviation from what the laws and what the law God Jesus has laid down. It is a chastisement.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you go
I
back?
say it is a chastisement, like what happened in Babylon. Is it a chastisement?
Okay, because I heard you say the Lord God and then Jesus. I just want to get some
Yeah, I
clarity.
just brought up all. I just said that because I know I
Okay.
got other people listening from other
Okay.
audience. That was the only reason. But go ahead.
Well, that's why I'm like wanted you to go to back, because those are two different people. Just to be clear, I didn't want no
Okay.
confusion. All right.
Okay. So it's a
Or different
chastisement.
persons, entities, spirits. But yes, it's a natural consequence. I mean, we could say chastisement, but I think it'll convey the reality better to say these are the consequences which the scriptures warns us about. Not that God is going to make a special act based upon this. I mean, there are cases where God does create a special act and consequences for sin, Sodom and Gomorrah, etc., etc. But global warming is not one of them. It's just something that was prophesied of, but the consequences is natural from man's rebellion against God and what he has done. More specifically, the rebellion against God that man is committing is basically defrauding one another. So, and when you're defrauding one another, that's an environment where it's man against man, where everything's about a competition. Everything's about getting an advantage over the next person. And then it becomes a social, collectively social, national, regional thing where you
Mhm.
have one nation it becomes embodied in that nation where they're seeking advantage over their national neighbor. So it becomes a rush to utilize the earth resources in a way that is non-renewable, just so that they can be the first one to get this advantage over the next, and then uh, usually start a war and go in and take their neighbor's land because they have the resource advantage, technological advantage, weaponry advantage, that like we see today
Yes.
in Israel. Because we have
Yes.
the technological advantage, we're just gonna bomb you to continuously.
And when you know what, when you speak of Israel, and when you're very perceptive, because you know what, that was the next subject matter that I was going to come to. I was going to come between talk about the conflict, the crisis that is going on in Israel and the Gaza Strip and the Palestinians right now. And and but first, I mean, do you think that there is a solution? And if there is a solution, what is the solution to the conflict and turmoil that is going on in that region of the world?
Jesus. So if this, as the scripture says, if I be lifted up from the earth, I shall draw all men unto me. He is the Prince of Peace. But we know that that's not going to happen. People are not going to turn because it's already been prophesied. You know, broad is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth unto destruction, and many there be that find that way. But straight is the gate and narrow is the way that leadeth unto light, and few there be that find it. So just like I was just talking about with this spirit of competition that comes from or this spirit of defrauding your neighbor on an individual all the way up to a national and international scale, uh, this is the broad way in which people live their lives in terms of gaining advantage, using that advantage for selfish gain.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these politics to cover it. We keep talking about making the world a better place. We keep talking about international law. We're talking about uh, war tribunals that's or the threat thereof that is supposed to keep in check, but we don't enforce it unless it's in our political interest. Israel is clearly violating international law, and Biden keeps threatening to withhold weapons. But why does it matter if you withhold weapons if you just gave them $26 billion where they can buy weapons? That reminds me of what they what we did in retail. The we would run a 25% off sale, but what they don't tell you is a couple of weeks before they raised the price back 30%.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we ship all this money over there and we've already given them weapons. So what weapons are we withholding? Like it's a scam. Somebody said fake news.
Mm.
We're withholding.
Sound like a shell game. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, we're withholding arms from Israel. What until the next shipment?
Yes. And you know what? When you see all of the people worldwide, I'm not going to say all of the people, a lot of the people worldwide are outraged that the United States, before President Biden made the decision, I will not ship any more ammunition to Israel, but we still support them, and they are outraged. Do you think that there's justification, like in Chicago and other cities in the United States and around the world, there are people that are protesting on behalf of the Palestinians because they believe in their hearts that it is unjust to um, massacre to eliminate people. Well, I mean, is it justified? What do you think about the people that are protesting as long as they're doing it peacefully? What do you think about that? It reminds me of Vietnam, but go ahead, brother.
You know, this kind of explains things for me. Uh, my life, the most conscious thing that I've done or conscious moments I've had has been asking questions and having those questions answered.
Mhm.
You know, that has been um, you know, kind of like the story of my life. So, one of the questions that I've asked myself throughout the years: how does Nazi Germany happen? How do you get a whole nation to cooperate with something so evil? You know, and then turn around and act like they woke up and they learned better. you know, it's almost like all of a sudden they turn into I'll use slavery and Jim Crow in the same vein. How did all of a sudden people get converted?
Yes.
This evil dastardly act, and I don't see anywhere where people actually repented. I don't see anywhere where anybody actually came to Christ, as because most of the people that was doing it was already claiming Christ. So when was this conversion of Germany? And what we're seeing now, there was no conversion. It's all politics, whatever's politically convenient.
Yeah.
So right now, we can clearly see that what's happening in Israel is dastardly. It's hideous. It's painful. It's murderous. It's slaughter. But we keep hearing this language of power from this supposed uh, highly moral president that's always claiming the moral high ground.
Yes.
I hear him come out and condemning. He still the other day condemning October 7th. What they got to do with right now?
Mm.
Even according to international law, what does that have to do with right now? He's making a point to keep throwing the blame back on Hamas, or no, on Palestine, right? He don't even differentiate between Palestine and Hamas.
Yes.
So he keeps throwing the blame back on Palestine and this, language of power, and not addressing the real issue that, like he's saying that is if Israel, uh, what's it, the town Rama or whatever, he's saying that they go into a full scale assault, then they'll start, withholding aid or considering that they're
Hmm.
violating the internet, whatever. Like, okay, you can just slaughter people a little bit. We'll permit that. But if you commit a lot of resources to this, see, you got to slaughter them with little resources. But if you slaughter them with a lot of resources, then we got to do something.
Yeah, well, when you say that, Johnny, you know what? I gotta add this. I think it's one thing that will not, with me being a Muslim, and it be a lot of things. It's one thing that won't be forgotten is that they bombed them during the holy month of Ramadan,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Mm-hmm.
know what? There's a lot of Muslims that were disgruntled about it because that's a holy month to us. And they showed that they had no regards for that. But that's just me throwing in my 2 cents. Okay.
I'm
But,
gonna tell you.
and you know what? And I like to ask you, Johnny, what was the first of all, what is the justification where Hamas had made the statement that we were willing to negotiate, but it, Israel decided to go into Ramallah, which is by Palestine, and the world is telling them, I'm saying the majority of nations are saying it is wrong to go into Ramallah to kill and to injure babies, daughters. What in your opinion, what was the justification to go for them going to Ramallah? I can't rationalize it. Maybe you can give give me some light on it. Was it just why after Hamas had made the statement that we were willing to negotiate? Why? Can you explain that to me?
I mean, in my opinion, based on what I'm saying, is that Netanyahu is a warmonger, and he wants to cause death and destruction. In the story, is nothing else to it. He wants to cause death and destruction. I actually, it seems like he enjoys it. To be honest.
You say it's nothing to explain. I get it, brother. I get it. It's you know what, there are many more trials and tribulations that the people are going to encounter, rumors of wars, and families turning against each other, and other things because we have deviated from the path of God. And most refuse to go back to God, but they say they love God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you, I mean, what is your opinion about that, brother?
I'm sorry. State the question again.
Most say they love God, they love Allah, but they have deviated from the path of God. Um, Looking forward to worldly things that shine and glitter that will not avail them in the hereafter. Why? Why are people doing that? Why? Why, brother?
Well, I think the more concise answer is that people are showing you what they believe in,
Yes.
and I think belief can be interpreted in a very binary concept.
Yes.
People who believe in the temporary and those who believe in the eternal. So when people opt for all these earthly things and they're fighting and killing for all these earthly things, they clearly declare that this is all there is, this is all they expect. So they got to get live their best life now, and they willing to kill and do whatever in order to achieve that.
And
So
you know
I
what,
put the
Johnny, I'm in
scriptures.
this broadcast, but can you please give the listening audience your contact information? Because you know what, I'm pretty sure there's other people that love you on your show and your podcast and your Facebook. Can you give us your contact information and tell us something about your show?
Yeah, I'm on the Joyful Sound Truth and Conversation. That's my YouTube channel. Uh, I'm also on Instagram by True Joyful Sound. I,
Hmm.
I recently put up a lot of these pages, so I'm trying to remember. Uh, True Joyful Sound. Uh, and then I'm on Twitter. I think by the same name, the True Joyful Sound. And then I'm on Facebook by the Joyful Sound.
And you come on every Sunday.
Yeah, so I post usually once a week, sometimes more, but usually there's a new posting on Sundays at 10 o'clock. Sometimes I put up an additional one during the week when God gives me something that I feel that is urgent. Then I'll go ahead and post that probably during the week.
Mhm. What is your contact information? How people can get in contact with you?
Well, you can contact me through Facebook, Instagram, uh, Twitter. Yeah.
And you know what, people that look at the Underground Railroad television show every Saturday night at 10:30, and podcast, you know what? Check him out. Check him out. Check out what he's talking about. Check it out.
Yeah.
Check it out.
I
And you
invite
know
you to.
what, brother? I'm gonna end this, and you know what? Perhaps we can do some. We can do something next week,
Okay. Okay.
and then just keep up with the current news.
Okay. I just want to invite people to like, subscribe, share, and comment.
Okay. Okay. And on YouTube, what's the name of the channel again?
The Joyful Sound, Truth and Conversation.
Okay, well, brother, thank you for being a guest on the Underground Railroad podcast, brother. You know
Yeah,
what?
yeah. Be glad to come back because we talked about a few things, and I think we've only touched the surface. So yeah, we want to come back and expound a little bit more on these subjects.
All right, brother. Thank you, brother. All right. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
All right. So you're looking at the Underground Railroad podcast, and you know what? I encourage people to support him by going to his social media platforms, and you know what? He would be a good guest to come on your show, to write an article about, come on your social media platform, and I encourage you. And you're looking at the Underground Railroad podcast. We do a television show that comes on in Chicago every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. That's Central Time in Chicago. And I just thank you, and prayers go out to what's going on in Palestine. And prayers go out to them. I always pray for them. Always included in all my prayers when I make my salat. So greet you in the word. You know, I leave you in the words of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And keep on praying, whether you being persecuted in China, Palestine, any other countries that are doing harm to Muslims. I pray for you. But remember, everything happens by the permission of Allah. And these things have been decided on a night of power. And that's the first night that the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this understand this is just temporary. Everything that shines and glitter and it looks good and sounds good, these things won't avail you on the day of judgment. They won't mean anything. So I implore to you to get closer and closer and closer to Allah, to God, because that's the only thing that's gonna matter. Not your car, not your wife, not your kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids and your family, but I'm saying the number one priority should be getting closer and closer and closer to your creator, because this is material deception on your house, your car, your bank account. All of this is going to go to oblivion. What I mean by oblivion is it will dissipate. It won't mean anything. Okay. But you have a soul. We all going to die. And a ruah, the soul is going to come up out their body. You know what? And I'll talk to you about that a little later on. And again, assalamu alaikum to everybody. May Allah bless you no matter where you are on this planet. Assalamu alaikum.